Coming to the end of your performance review, and we've looked at objectives and targets and what you've tried to achieve in the last 3 months, and we've addressed all of those. There's a couple of those we're going to carry on into the next quarter, okay, which is excellent. I'm just wanting to talk to you about something else that has come to light in the last couple of weeks, and just have a conversation with you, I suppose, about your view of something that might or might not be happening, and how we maybe are going to solve that and move forward working together. And I just wanted to chat through with you that a couple of the directors have talked to me about the fact that occasionally you've discussed with them some employee matters when I haven't been around in the office. For example, with Jim, he advises me, you had a conversation with him one day about the compromise agreement that we're tidying up for Tom. And there was another issue supposed to do with Susie's disciplinary decision and how that was going to be communicated to her. And again, Helen said to me that you'd had a conversation with her about that. And I'm wanting just to explore that with you, because one of the key things we've talked about before, that the values in the department and the practices is particularly around confidentiality. And I'm just a bit uncomfortable, concerned around what that might be about and how we would address that. And whilst the directors have spoken to me, it was really important that you and I, talk about it. So I suppose just wanted to put it out there to you and see if you had any thoughts on it or comments on it.
Yeah, well, what I'd first like to say is that I am, and I try to be very confidential.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I do lock away everything in filing cabinets. I make sure that my desk is clear before I leave every day. But to be honest, Michelle, I have found it really hard recently being in the office by myself. And at times I felt really, really uncomfortable, because the directors do come and ask me questions. And with you, I know you're really under pressure, and with you not being in the office, I just feel like obliged to have to answer their questions, or under pressure to have to answer their questions. So I can remember speaking to Tom and a couple of the other directors about some other matters that in hindsight I shouldn't have really done, but I think when I'm under that much pressure and really uncomfortable, I just couldn't help it.
Explain to me the uncomfortable. I mean, how many times are the directors coming into the office or asking you questions? I mean, that would be, I suppose, useful for me to understand.
Yeah, well, they would come on a daily basis, but they wouldn't necessarily ask questions on a daily basis, because I can be quite busy. But I do feel like they have been checking up on me, which is fine because you haven't been there. But I think it's when they start to fish for comments, and I just feel really under pressure to have to answer them. And I feel like if I don't answer them, are they going to hate me? I don't want them to hate me, but I just feel that I have breached the confidentiality a wee bit with regards to speaking to people, but with regards to paperwork, I think I've been really confidential.
Yeah, I would affirm that, but certainly the clear desk policy, I can't find things in your office when you're not here, so absolutely, there's no issue with filing or your desk or phone messages sitting about. And I can appreciate that directors at a different level are coming in and asking questions. However, Kerry, confidentiality around some of these matters are non-negotiable. And I am concerned that there's information going out of the office to these directors that these staff are not in their departments. And some of that information I might be bringing up to a meeting at a strategic level, but it certainly wouldn't be in the detail that they should know about that information. So I suppose I appreciate what you're saying around them coming in to ask you questions, but there is an issue here around how we deal with that. And if I'm not in the office, then it's also how you deal with it. So I think there's something we can do together, but there's also your response. What way would you want to respond to that, or what way would enable you to deal with that?
I think the first thing, I would really appreciate it if maybe you could speak to the directors, so that I'm not under this pressure to actually have to answer the questions, and just let them know that they can't be asking these confidential questions to me. Because I think with you not being there, and I'm still in training with this job, I think it's very difficult to say no or not to answer them. And also, I think it would be really beneficial if we could communicate on a regular basis, maybe even meet on a one-to-one, on a monthly basis, either over the phone or, face-to-face. I think it'd be really good to just know you're there, and if I have anything maybe you're there for support, and if any questions or queries I could ask and speak to you about it, because it does feel quite lonely in there. And I think maybe that's why as well I was like, I love to chat, and you know how sociable I am, so I think maybe that was why I let slip a couple of things I shouldn't have.
A couple of times you've said, Kerry, that I'm not there, and I appreciate that I haven't been there. I mean, I've been out and about, you know what I'm doing out in the sites and the whole restructuring that we're going through, and that seems to be a key point, my lack of presence. Okay, so I certainly take on board about the directors, and I will speak to them. And there's something around how we communicate more frequently. So what we maybe need to agree is a monthly meeting, or you know, FaceTiming, or different ways that we're communicating and catching up. What I would suggest is that we action plan that at the bottom of your performance appraisal form. And what we'll do is then, I still will keep an eye on it over the next 3 months, but also it's necessary that you let me know if there's issues with the directors as well. And I'm wondering how that feels to you, because that feels like a big brother watching you, a watching brief. But I'm wanting you to see that from a supportive point of view, rather than something that is correcting you and keeping an eye on you in secret. That's not the intent. But it is such a key thing with regards to your role, and it's understanding how confidentiality is played out in practice is what we need to be aware of. So I'm wondering how comfortable you are about that, in terms of me touching base with you more formally on a monthly basis, catching up with you on it, and also monitoring just how you're doing with that value practice.
Yeah, I understand what I did was wrong, and I do want to develop myself, so I think I understand exactly why you'd be keeping an eye on it. And I think with us communicating a lot better, I will learn from this and you know, move on from it, and won't try my hardest to be 100% confidential.
Okay, so we'll test it out. What we'll do is we'll try it for the next month, and we will keep it on the agenda, and we'll look at the confidentiality issue, keep that as a point of discussion, and then at the 3-monthly review, again the performance review, we'll look back on it and see how progress has been made around it. And I'll take responsibility with regards to the director issue, and then that will clear some of the questions up. But there is something around your sociable, you know, style, around maybe just restricting some information out to others. So are you okay with that?
Yep, that's no problem.
You're comfortable? Okay,
Happy.
that's great, thanks. Okay.